Twice he went to grand final day. On both occasions he walked away with the Norm Smith medal along with a premiership medallion. Andrew McLeod, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Tell me, Andrew, when notification of this arrived, what did you go through? What were your emotions?
It was quite interesting. I was heading out the door with my wife, and I can't remember where we were going, and something caught my eye in the letterbox, so I sort of marched over and grabbed it, and I get a lot of mail from the AFL, being a 300-game player, and I looked at the letter and I saw Tony Peake's name on the back, and I went, geez, I don't often get mail from Tony Peake, so something's going on. And walked back to the car, and my wife Rachel was sitting in the passenger seat, and I handed her the letter and said, you better open this, because if I do, I think I'm going to cry. So I got her open it, and she was like, what are you going to cry for? You know, like, what's going on? And I said, well, have a look at the letter. And no, Tony Peake. And she opened the letter and started reading it, and then for about, I guess it's like a bit like when you win the premiership, that first 15 seconds, just the emotion of it. And all these thoughts that went through my head, freaked out. There was a couple of tears, and I just was like, I've got to ring my dad. So that was probably my first instance, my first instinct. From there, ring my dad, tell him about it, and like I said, then after that emotion had settled down, I was like, whew, how good's this?
Yes. Does it hit home how far you've come? A displaced family after Cyclone Tracy and Catherine, all the way to presenting before the United Nations on the back of football, and here you are in the Hall of Fame. It's quite the journey.
It is. I often think back and go, well, wow. A little little podgy boy from Catherine growing up, and got the opportunity to follow a dream, play on the biggest stage that I could have ever imagined, and play a game I loved for my career for 16 years. I couldn't ask for anything better, I got this thing in my head that one of my mates was mentioning before about my brother always said, my dad said to me when I was a young bloke that you can't eat footballs. And as you know, can't be a footballer as a career, but proved him wrong.
Your football journey actually goes back through the generations. The genesis is your great-grandfather.
Yeah, it is, and my great-grandfather was one of the first Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander players to be registered to play. In the territory back in the early 1900s. His name, or my family name, the Armat name, is blazoned on the entrance gates at TIO Stadium. It's named after my great-grandfather. So I guess it was inevitable that I was going to play footy. He played for the Darwin Buffaloes, or back in the day they changed names a lot of times. The Vesties, the Meatworks was part of that. And I guess it's one of those things you don't realise until you're a bit older that, I guess, what that impact is on you as a person. But back in those early days, he paved the way for myself and a lot of the other guys that have come through.
And did you always have a strong sense when you played that you were representing your community?
Oh, always. Coming from the territory, I was pretty lucky in my my favourite player was Michael McLeod. Growing up, Magic McLeod, and he's married to my cousin, so I was pretty fortunate that at Christmas lunches I got a bit of time with him, and you know, I was just a pest, I guess, and asking him 100 million questions about footy and what it's like to play in the big smoke, and you know, he was real to me. And you know, then I had guys like Maurice Rioli to look up to, Michael Long, who I saw here earlier, Gilbert McAdam, Darryl White, and the like, that were fantastic role models for me. And you know, when I got the opportunity to pursue my dream and a career in footy, I want to be just as good a role model as those blokes were. So it was something that, and because of, you know, the impact that you know, my family have had, and my grandfather and his story as well, that, you know, it's important for me to be able to, you know, a little snotty-nosed kid from the territory, that I could actually do something and give other kids the aspiration to be able to reach their dreams.
You're a beautiful footballer to watch, and I don't doubt it was exhilarating to play. Can you put us inside it when it all lined up for you? Was it like playing the game in slow motion?
Yeah, it was in certain times, and it's one of those things I think as a footballer, you love to be able to bottle those moments when you could, and there were certain periods in my career that and games and moments where everything was in slow motion. And I think that's when, for me, it's when I played my best football. I felt like I was one step ahead all the time, and I could read the play, and I knew where the ball was going to go. And you know, I was fortunate enough. I wish I could have produced more of those moments, as we all do, you know, in our careers. That you know, it didn't happen as often as you'd like it to do, but in those moments when it did happen, you know, you almost felt like you were unstoppable. That, you know, you could, and that's what footy did to you. And that's what I did in the lounge room at my mum and dad's house when I used to break my mum's vases growing up, kicking socks around the house, and in the backyard, and breaking her palm trees, and used to get sworn out the back window. But it was just the things that I was doing as a kid in the backyard. And when I played, you know, on some of the biggest stages in the world, and in terms of, you know, the MCG or at Amy Stadium or wherever that was, it just felt like I was recreating those moments that I was playing as a kid.
And those two grand finals, which are such a part of the folklore of your career, 2 Norm Smith medals, in playing in front of 100,000 people, which would have been more than the whole population of where you grew up. How do you reflect on those 2 memorable days?
Yeah, I was very lucky that, you know, we obviously had Malcolm at the time, who was just fantastic in, one, being able to put things into perspective and, you know, give you confidence and allow you to go out and be calm. But, you know, and that was one thing in the grand finals. I was never really nervous when I played in the GFs. I was quite comfortable because, like I said, about, you know, playing those games. I played 100 grand finals in my mum's lounge room, and, you know, I'd been there before, so I knew what to expect, sort of. But until that moment, and then you walk out onto the MCG and there's nearly 100,000 people, and the first thing I did was go, wow, there's more people here than where I live, where I come from, you know, and that was the most scary thing. And then it was like, oh, what did Blighty say? Oh, yep, you got to do it, you know, soak it all up and embrace it, and don't get caught in a moment. But yeah, it was just the fantastic days, and, you know, like, you go out there and for me, and the other thing too was the pressure I always felt, because the only 2 guys that ever played in the grand final before me, one was named Maurice Rioli, one was named Michael Long, and they both won Norm Smith medals. Yep. So I sort of felt that pressure a little bit, but, you know, I think it was nice to be able to embrace it and think, well, you know, they're 2 of my great idols growing up. How good would it be to be able to emulate that?
And emulate it you did. You've left us with so many great memories. Maybe a thank you or 2 as you finish.
Yeah, I would. I think I better thank my wife first, because she's an integral part of obviously my life, and from growing up in Katherine and in Darwin and going to school together, as a young bloke, and we embarked on this dream. I was a bit wet behind the ears, didn't know what was going to happen, and a bit like some of the other guys said, I just wanted to play one game. And I was lucky to, play it for 16 years, and my wife has been a special part of that, and I thank her dearly. She's ridden a lot of the highs and the lows, and she's my rock as well. But to my two beautiful children, it's one thing at those things in your footy career when you have children, and before that, everything is about yourself and the way that you go about it and your preparation and trying to do everything you can, and then your kids come along, and then you find yourself, getting inspired and fired up by the Wiggles or something like that. It's you find out quickly that you're not that important. So my children, they keep me humble and grounded, and I'm just dad to them, and that's what I love about it. To my mum and dad, who I guess I'm indebted to, I owe a lot to. They drove me to training as a kid and gave me the opportunity to pursue a dream, and to they sacrifice so much, and I do wish my mum was here to be able to share in this moment. But also to my brother, who's not here. I wish he was here, but my brother is one of those people that puts things into perspective a lot. And when I told him I was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, he said, "I already thought you were there." Like most big brothers, I always wanted to be like him, and he was my hero. Who else have I got? Oh, my mates that are sitting over there on the table, four of my great mates who have been there through most of my career, growing up and as a kid, continue to inspire me and give me great strength, and appreciate your friendship for that. To the Adelaide Football Club, who's part of my family, has been part of my family for a long time now, for about 20 years. I will forever be indebted to the Adelaide Football Club. They gave me an opportunity as a boy to pursue my dream and turn me into a man. So to all the past and present people of the Adelaide Football Club, I thank you very much. And to the game of football itself, along with my family and my friends, I'm forever indebted. Thank you.
He's given us another beautiful memory tonight, Andrew McLeod, as a member of the Australian Football Hall of Fame.